Are you trying to go over there?
No.
Are you sure? Because you look a little pensive. Okay, so multiple ways to assess. In seated, with respect to the ribs, I can just do visual stuff, but if I'm looking, say, at levels and lines and whatnot, do you trust that this is not simply asymmetry of structure? Like they're often different shapes. So just be careful with that. With respect to the ribs, I can use side bending as a proxy. So side bend this way, please. Right, that looks great. Everything here kind of collapses. It looks like it moves. Side bend the other way, and I'm going to assume, not so bad. Looks maybe here-ish, but I don't know that. The side bending suggests to me a side that I expect more to find a rib problem. So if there's asymmetry in the rib or in the side bending, I can assume the side that they bend poorly to, especially if I visually look, might have something, but I do not know that. If I stop there, it's an assumption, okay? So now what I can do, twist back this way, okay? So now you see how this doesn't move here? I can apply pressure here. This isn't perfect. I should ideally be standing and be closer and be stabilizing more, but that doesn't feel fantastic to you. Is that fair? Okay, because I can see that it doesn't move. I don't see that it's posterior. I see that it doesn't move, and then when I apply more movement to it in the non-neutral position, there's a challenge. Twist the other way, and there's a little stiffness there, but it's not, say, the same level as this.
Yes.
So now we've identified that there is something on both sides in that test. Does that mean that it's a true rib problem? No, it means in the continuity of the movement that shows up to me, and when I add something to it, there's something funny. I can also do something like this, take a deep breath, and let it out, okay? So the left side goes up and down. The right side goes up and not so much down. Okay? You probably can't even feel the difference between that, can you? Yeah. Most people will not notice that difference because they're not going to be sensitive to it. You can go up a little higher. So what you tend to do is look at your hands and see how they move. So you have contact with where the ribs are, but you're not on a specific rib. So I come up a little higher, take a deep breath, and let it out. Okay? So the right side goes up, doesn't come down as much. The left side doesn't go up much, but it does come down, right? So then you come up higher. You've got that option. So you have them take an exaggerated breath. You watch the excursion of your hands and you'll see the asymmetry. So in multiple tests right now, I have more on the right in and about that area. And do you feel any discomfort in the ribs around here through the day? No. So this is where your finding and their sensation may not always line up, but you have an honest finding in more than one test, right? So now I have a reason to choose these right ribs. I have more than one reason to choose these right ribs. You can do different tests. So what we're going to do with respect to passive work on this side and activation is I need to have access to this in seated. So if I stand and I am more or less behind the left side, I have opened the right side and I'm going to have good contact and good control, okay? So put your right hand on your left shoulder, please. So now I have a handle. Yeah. The smile is nice. I didn't see her face, but I saw yours. Oh, that was you? Oh, she did that?
I did that.
Oh, nice. I didn't see that part, but the camera did. So now I've got a safe, intelligent handle that I can do a lot with, okay? When you have the hand cross over the front of the chest, you remove more likelihood of, or you minimize the opportunity to have accidents in sensitive areas or touch things that are uncomfortable and people may or may not tell you about, right? But this way it's protected, but it's more so that you have a good handle. So now I have control of this side in whatever way I need to off of here, and I have access to that, okay? So I'm gonna roll through here. Good contact, like my abdomen on her torso or my torso on her torso with some relief, right? Here, good contact. So now what I'm going to try to figure out, so I can push here, so I know what this is like now, okay? Now I side bend this way and I get more squish. You agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm going to side bend this way. I get less squish. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I can flex. I get a little more squish. You agree?
Mm-hmm.
Now I can extend, less squish. You agree? Okay. So now we have coordination. I feel this, right? So it's side bending this way and the flexion. I get some squish. Now here's the difference with the activation. In seated, it does seem to help if I articulate a little bit. So I put it in a position where I can get more squish. So now I'm using all of these movements together. It's not clean. Sorry. Right, so as I push, she extended herself. So it was probably more than she needed in that moment for that thing. So I'm moving my hand off of it a little bit. I'm trying to introduce the smaller movements into it to get more. Now, like when I move you through extension, it's a little bit more uncomfortable. Is that fair? Okay. So now, because of that, I'm going to try to mobilize the area. So if I'm moving the vertebral column, which is indicated by me moving the torso, then the ribs should be moving in relation to that, right? It's in a non-neutral position. So what we're going to look for is improved side bending and improved rotation and improved breathing, because I can check against those two tests. So now that I've flexed her more, like this is working better. Okay, there we go. Let that down. Okie dokie. Back to my original point of observation. Bend this way because it was already the good way. Looks even better. Bend the other way. Better, right? So this does collapse a little bit better. This doesn't look tight anymore in the movement, not in neutral. Twist this way because it was, right? That is moving a little bit better. Now here, okay, that doesn't feel the same. Like you're making a face, but it...
No, there's more space there.
Yeah, but it still feels tender when I push it, right? So not perfect resolution of sensation. Twist this way, okay? Now that probably feels pretty good. And when I push, when I push here, that's still firm, but it doesn't feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we come back here, take a deep breath, up, yep, and did that feel like a nicer breath? Okay, so we have multiple levels of coordination. But that hold is what gives me all of those opportunities. So at least with the passive activating force and seated, for the ribs, for whatever darn reason, you do seem to gain something from an articulatory approach or an on-off approach, like a nice wiggle, right? A rhythmic wiggle. The other thing that we do have the opportunity to do is try to work in specific intercostal spaces in seated. That tends to be better with a high elbow, but it can't be a wiggly elbow. So I'll show you what I mean there. Put this hand on this shoulder. See? Now I have removed the rights and lefts. Okay? So I want to be careful of my angle. So if I'm working here, I'm too far away, this angle's too flat. I want to be as close to things as I can be. So I'm going to be here, right? Now I'm going to lock this in, because now I get a little bit more out of it. So there's this, but if I want to try to lift an intercostal space, then I want to consider the anatomical connection of the serratus. I want to be in an intercostal space. So maybe this one feels a little funkier. Okay. The reason I think it feels funkier is because when I push into it, it's less squishy. So now, right? So if I lift you here, it just doesn't feel good, right? But if I bring you over here and I lift you, it kind of works a little better. So it's off neutral. Now, here's the thing. I'm not lifting the arm because it won't work. See that? Yeah. I'm locking it in and I'm moving my body, right? So here, just watch. Just watch her in relation to my hand, but also her elbow in its position in relation to the table. So your breath will do something, but it's because you're changing the dimension of your abdomen, right? So, right, like you can just be careful how you breathe, because now you're right in her ear. It's like, don't make it too weird, right? But that is intercostal space work, right? But it's not the arm moving everywhere, because the arm won't do it. But when you lock it all in and you make it move as a unit in relation to where you're paying attention, it seems to do something, okay?